Welcome to The Shield Within. The issues discussed on the Shield Within podcast do not reflect the opinions of any specific agency. They are the views of the host and the guest. Any persons discussed may be fictional for comedic purposes only. This podcast is rated explicit and listener discretion is advised. Listening to The Shield Within may trigger repressed or suppressed memories or experiences. Please contact a mental health professional at your earliest convenience. It's time for the chaos to cease.
Time to open yourself to peace.
From the hours you've put in.
To the next shift you begin.
From the endless pursuit of release.
That finds the worst unleashed.
Transform the ugly into a win.
Get to know your shield within.
Welcome to The Shield Within.
Welcome, Mark.
We are at a noon recording, so this is our first nooner ever. Wait a minute. It's the sound effect. There we go. So today we have Eric and Nichole from the Hey Baby podcast. Did you bring a dad joke with you?
I can whip one out when I need to.
The dad joke. Remember, we had to keep pants on for this episode.
It is a nooner.
Right. Nicole suddenly really uncomfortable.
Yeah, can I leave?
It's like a dude fest in here. But anyway, let's do a little bit of business here, and then we'll jump right in it. So we know you're on the internet because I track you all the time whenever you hit www.theshieldwithin.com. Go by there and see our smiling faces. And then for those of us in the studio, there's Hedgehog Donnie up there on top of the bookcase. Also, Facebook /The Shield Within. If you're in need, while you're on the website, you can hit that coaching button there and go see Dr. David, or you can talk to him. Nobody sees you, do they? Do you do like FaceTime?
Rarely. It's happened a couple of times. But
right?
The DD family's like that.
But then they never come back, right?
Yeah, it's just too anxiety producing.
But you can work with David at lessonslearnedcoaching.com. And that last thing about it, Patreon, you have that extra $5 laying around a month and you want to support the show. We greatly appreciate it. So just go to Patreon /The Shield Within. Enough of that bullshit. So, awesome. Man, I'm so excited to have you guys in the studio today. You look nervous as fuck.
I am scared as fuck.
Why are you scared about it? You have your own fucking show. Pull that microphone over to you there just a little bit.
And I say it every day, every
what?
Time when we do our podcast. Oh,
you get nervous about
it?
I'm
so scared.
I got some booze back here. You want to do some shots? Loosen you up a little bit there. David's got some edibles.
I need a job still.
So,
we're keeping her job.
But
keeping
what we're
her
talking
job.
about, let's say who we are. So everyone knows me. I'm Marc the Cop. Dr. David's here. So Eric, we work together in a capacity as instructors at the police academy, and Nichole was actually a student.
Yep, that's correct.
And how I realized that you two were connected was I was bragging about you one day. I said, no, man, he's a great guy. And, I touch on stops and approaches with my lecture. I'm a driving instructor, your firearms and stops and approaches. And I said, I don't want to put my fingers in the Sarge's rice bowl. And I was saying, he's a cop's cop. And the whole class starts giggling.
Then you found out that you're.
And I'm like, excuse me? Yeah. And then, of course, she didn't say a word. Of course, the rest of the class, outed you guys really quick. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. Well, tell Sarge I said hi. Other than that, so, it's an honor and a pleasure to work with you. I would like to work with you more. Of course, I can come down and get on the stops and approaches.
Yeah, we don't get to teach together as much as that. We used to a little more on stops. I think it was.
It was years ago.
But it's been quite a while since we actually got to teach a class together. We just kind of pass in the hallways now. I think.
Yeah, sup. And I was really amazed at how many instructors are there. I mean, it's quite a few,
and new ones all the time.
Yeah. It's like, hey, who are you? And then, of course, I do the hey, who are you? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I know you, because everybody grows beards and we get old. And
yeah.
Of course,
yeah.
You're like, hey, motherfucker, I know you, man. But yeah, It's a great experience. So one day, you guys woke up and said,
let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
that was pretty much it.
Whose brainchild was it?
God's. That's kind of where we put it.
I love your religious aspect in it. But
Do you want me to hit this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we had talked about it early on in our relationship. At some point, we had been like, "Oh, it'd be fun to have a podcast," and it was just a thing that we we talked about it, and never did anything. Of course, that was 3 years ago, probably, maybe even close to 4.
Right. And
then we were actually on our way to church one day, and I can't remember what the topic was now, but the what came to me was it was basically about being your true self, letting people know who you truly were.
Right.
And we had like kind of a minor social media following on Facebook and whatnot. And I just told her, I said, like we get all these all the time, like, well, how can you find a partner like you? You guys have such a perfect life. And we always like laugh and go, whatever. And I said, just was kind of like, a podcast would be a cool way for us to get. Well, I didn't say this to her yet. I was thinking it to myself. I thought a podcast would be a good way for us to just get out there and be like, here's actually us. This is who we are and what we do. And, the fighting, the arguing, the normal couple stuff that you don't get to see on Facebook. And we went to church that morning, and I, again, cannot remember exactly what the message was about, but she leans over, and this was literally maybe 15 minutes after I'd had this thought on the way to church. She leans over and goes, "We should start a podcast."
Yeah, I did.
And I go, "Whoa, shit!" Which you can say that in our church.
Yeah,
I go, "Whoa, shit!" I just had that same thought, and we both just kind of went. Didn't talk about it until we got home, and we got home. We were sitting on the couch, and she just goes, "Are we going to let this moment go by?"
Yeah,
where we both had the same thought. In church of all places.
Yeah.
Are we really going to let this pass? And I said, no, absolutely not. Like we got to do this. So here we are.
Yep. It's fun, scary, but fun.
Why is it scary? Why are you scared now? You're still sweating.
I am. I'm like,
I was gonna say, do you need me to get you a towel? Or?
Yeah, can we just like blot all this sweat off? I don't know. Let me see if I can explain this. Probably because I don't share things with people, and this podcast requires me to be vulnerable. Like,
wow. See, I'm never vulnerable. I'm like, fuck it. Always keep the shield up, man. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's how I tend to. I'm careful who I talk to. I'm careful what I say around certain people, and then all of a sudden we're like, let's start this podcast, and let me just share all the details of my life.
Right. Well, it is humbling. Dr. David?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And foreign.
Yes.
So like every time you open your mouth, it's like, holy shit, what am I doing? And so you're constantly like on the edge of uncomfortable.
Correct.
Never really uncomfortable, but kind of on the edge of it. Because you're probably kind of getting used to it a little bit. Yeah. There's a kind of a familiarity that kind of builds up when you start self-disclosing. And I was in a study in graduate school. A guy was doing his dissertation, and it was just the coolest thing in the world. He asked me to do it, to participate, and the setup was a stranger would walk into the room, and they were told, you're going to be meeting with a counselor. And my job was to talk to them, not listen to them, but to tell them a really personal I story, something I lived through, etc.
Oh, wow.
So this woman, I mean, this was the first time it happened.
That's terrifying.
Nicole's already checking out. She's like, nope. What's that class? I'm not signing up.
And it was, I was very comfortable doing it because this was a complete stranger. I'm never going to see this person again in my life.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to become their therapist.
Right.
This is just an experiment. And the idea was these people walk into a room, and the people like me that were helping would tell a very personal I story, and then the subject would leave the room and go down the hall to another room, and that person would listen. Well, did you hear that story? Yeah. Does it make you want to talk about anything? And then they bleh, an I story. Happened almost 100% of the time.
Wow.
And in therapy, it became very obvious. When I would talk about me, if I could do so discreetly, which I think I did, then it would prompt the person I was talking to tell me stuff. So self-disclosure became a way to elicit self-disclosure.
I never thought about it like that.
And so I can almost guarantee you, listening to your pod, that there are people listening to you talk about your relationship so overtly, so bluntly, and then they go back to each other and they talk to each other the way you guys have been talking to each other. One thing leads to another. So dialogue, I think, is an outcome of what you're doing. People that are listening are going to want to talk.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, he's right. I got a text message from one of my best friends that said, "You guys, that was so relatable, that last podcast. We're experiencing the same thing." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Because I felt kind of like a, can I say bitch?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, okay.
You can say anything you want.
I can't say it about you. I can quietly nod in agreement. Maybe, but that's even pushing it.
I told him, I was like, well, I kind of felt like a bitch saying that to Eric. And he's like, no, like, you're right. That's how, like, what we're going through right now. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's raw.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the rawness of it is the strength of the podcast. It's just raw. It's unfiltered truth. And I think that's what people respond to.
She had the hardest time. We did an episode where I tried to interview her. And someday I'm going to redo it because, and I don't even think I told her ahead of time. I was like, we're just going to talk about you today. And she's like, I don't like talking about me. And I go, you started a fucking podcast. What did you think you were going to do an hour every week, you know? And it was like pulling teeth.
It was awful.
It was that, I think we got about an hour out after I edited about an hour out.
Wow.
It was like pulling teeth. She got mad at me.
I did.
I got frustrated with her. It was a full on. The marriage survived it though.
Oh yeah.
Well, so this is going to be like a sergeant interview, so we have some questions we
Oh,
already
good.
wrote. And, I'm going to ask a question. Sarge will ask one, then David.
No, wait, no, that's not.
Let me
what
turn
I
this
thought
light
you
on
meant.
over here and shine it in your face. And I'm going
no.
to turn the heat up in the room.
This is terrifying.
We're gonna force a
I thought you
confession.
meant these two were going to interview each other, not. Oh gosh.
Teasing. You know, the beauty of this podcast is, though, you know, we can do like our first show where we talk to you guys, and we can do the second one where you guys talk to us.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Trade out interviews there. What do you think?
Yeah. That's
Sound fun?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to be a good time.
I like it. Except
thought so.
talk to him.
I think the time I get the most kind of weirded out about it is when people we know we find out listen.
Yeah.
who we didn't realize would listen. Which, again, like I told her, I was like, we were at a retirement party for Mike Lang, and people kept coming over and going, "Oh my gosh, you guys, that was so funny."
Yeah.
And she told me the next day, she goes, "You were so uncomfortable." And I go, I was, and she goes, "You were trying not to look uncomfortable, but your body language said you were uncomfortable." And she was like, "That's really weird. I'm not used to seeing you uncomfortable." You were just like, "Oh my God." And I said, it's people that I expected strangers to listen. I expected close friends to listen, but the kind of like outer ring of people that you're acquaintances with,
Right,
you know, like some of these people we see once a year, once every year and a half at parties or whatever. And they're coming over and talking about how much they enjoyed it. And I was going, what the fuck?
That's good.
People actually listen to this thing, you know? And
Wait till you get your first fan call out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was really weird. Hey, it's Marc the Cop. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
That happened at the Celtic Festival with our TikTok friends.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that right?
That was awkward.
Yeah, that guy, that was a couple years ago. We were walking through the Celtic Fest, and some guy's like, "Hey, I hate to bother you, but you're Nichole and Eric." And we were like,
Let's get a selfie.
buying me a beer, or are you just here to look at my wife?
How about a kilt? Celtic Fest is always fun.
I enjoy it. I'll miss it this year.
I think that's where we got COVID, though.
Down there spreading it far and wide, were they?
That's what we decided, because, yeah, we went down to see...
We're in the mosh pit.
Yeah. Which band was it? One of the Irish bands.
Gaelic Storm.
Gaelic Storm. We went down to see Gaelic Storm and ended up right in the pit.
Oh, goodness.
Mushed together with 200 of our closest friends. Right as COVID was ending, we thought.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah.
So, off air, has the podcast helped?
I think so. makes us talk to each other a little bit more.
It does, and I've said that more than once on the podcast. It is, even if nobody ever listens to this, I don't want to stop doing it.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
once a week we have to sit down across the table like this, even a little closer. She can actually reach me at home, so I got to watch myself a little bit.
There's a stick behind you.
We have to sit down face to face and have a conversation, which is in today's world, especially as busy as both of us are with our schedules and everything else we're into and we do. It gets easy to be. Stupid stuff, playing with dogs, fixing the house, side jobs, whatever it is, and you just don't have that time that where you sit down, even if we're home and not doing anything. There's a good chance within 5 minutes one of us picks up a phone and starts scrolling.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a cancer.
Fucking phones.
And we both know it, but we still do it.
That's addiction.
Yep.
But this is one time, like she said, when we sat down, you put the phone away and you're going to have a conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's to me, it's worth it for that. Like,
that's awesome.
Yes.
I'll keep the microphones as long as they keep working, as long as we keep sitting and talking to each other.
Yeah. You dedicate time to be intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think that's a hugely important thing.
Which is sad that we
Schedule
couldn't do
it.
that. We couldn't do that without microphones.
I had to drop a couple $1,000 in equipment.
We spent $1,000 so that we could have a conversation as a married couple. Kind of seems like we are the last people that should be getting any kind of advice about a relationship when that's what it took to get us to talk to each other.
Well, but in this day in modern times, we talked about being vulnerable and we talked about, exposing your life and, but it's the human story. Mm-hmm. Especially when we started the Shield Within, this was something that we were motivated to do, and I don't think there was another podcast out there like us,
right?
With a retired cop and a retired therapist. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of bitching cops out there, and we all bitch like there's a fucking reward for it.
Almost too many.
Right, and there's a couple of them I listened to, and their first few episodes were good, but then it was just rampant complaining. I'm like,
I can hear this in the road room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I think when I listen to a
exactly.
lot of cop podcasts. I could hear this in the road room.
Yeah, I don't need that. Tell me something positive about it. And in the other show that I co-host on, him and I talked about, and I said, we're that guy. Let's stop complaining about our agencies. Yeah, and let's start looking for those positive leaders, and let's start celebrating them. And there's sadly. There is 101 podcasts out there where we talk about those assholes in the industry. So let's start celebrating the positive ones and the good ones, and let everyone know that this is. And I think being a cop's the greatest job in the fucking world. Do you guys agree?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Did a lot enough to do it for 33 years.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you guys
hasn't been bad enough to chase me away.
Yeah, it's the absolute best job in the world. I think there's the wonderful people that you meet, not only the people you work with, but also your citizens. That's what I liked about being a man in blue was, I worked as a deputy, was a part-timer, but you saw different people every day. You didn't really have that rapport, And one thing I loved about being a city officer is that you drive through a neighborhood, you know what car is supposed to be in what driveway that night, especially being a midnight dog.
Right.
That's the rapport you build, or the people that you help out, or that you take care of. That's the beauty of having the job. Plus, you get to do lots of fucking cool shit that the average American doesn't
very
get to
much
do.
so.
And that's being an adrenaline junkie. That's what kept me there for as long as I was. But and then of course there's the big department versus little department. Where do you go? What works for you? Some people's like, fuck this place, and they leave. And then they go somewhere else and like, whoa, this place is twice as fucked up. I want to go back,
Yeah, she's very quick to tell me that she's the real police. She works in one of the biggest agencies in Southeast Ohio, and I work in a suburb. So,
well, we're burb sergeants.
That is burb sergeant all the way.
But we get all the big city crime. We just don't get it every day.
That's right.
Yep.
And that's where having experience and being on the job a while is you need to be able to recognize that.
Yep.
And networking with those officers. Here in Cornfield County, Miami County, these people in this county, it's like the world doesn't exist beyond our borders.
Yeah.
And I'm a big networker. And through my association with our mutual friend, he was at the radio shop, so I got him Montgomery County Radio. So I would monitor where you work, and I'd monitor the agencies, because your shitheads are our shitheads.
Well, it's amazing.
Yep.
Bad guys have cars.
Yeah, yeah.
That was like a novel idea.
Or just hey, instead of having our dispatch, because our dispatchers at the time, I hope they don't do this anymore. But if I would call them on the radio and say, "Hey, contact your agency," they would physically pick the phone up and call them instead of just clicking over to your channel and going direct. Yeah, it's like, why the fuck would you do that? But hopefully they don't do that anymore. I've been gone for 3 years. But
Matter of fact, the other night she ended up in my town when she was working.
I did.
Sent me a message and said, "Hey, I'm dropping one of your drunks off, or one of your problem childs. We're bringing one of your problem childs home to whatever street." And I said, "All right, I'll swing in and say hi to you guys." So, and I told her partner, I told her not to gloat about dropping a problem child off, because I got a lot more of your problem children up here than you do of mine down there.
Yeah.
And if we want to play that game, I can be returning
Burn
bad
them all
guys
back.
all night long.
yeah, or I would get one of yours and send them a text and say, "Hey, left your fucking gate open. You're keep that shit wrapped up." Or we'd play the game like where the agency south of us, Vandalia, would bring a hitchhiker up, drop him, and tip. And I'm like, "You motherfuckers!" One night we literally passed a guy back and forth like 8 times.
And the
Get in the car.
dude
Take
was
him right-
probably happy. He's in a warm car.
Oh yeah, he was laughing. He's like, "How long are you guys are going to do this?" I said, "I don't leave till 6 o'clock in the morning." So finally, I just took him up to the rest area and dropped him off. I'm like, "All right, dude, you're on your way. See ya."
Yep. Or you'll hear him on the radio. I'm in there at the Inglewood Mire with one from some other agency or whatever, and you go, all right. So I'll just send a guy over, sit there in the parking lot, and just give him dirty looks when he drops that guy off, just to make sure he knows we know.
Yeah, don't you ever? You can take him to Richmond.
Yeah.
It's got like no man's land.
Yeah, really.
We had a couple of guys ride in on a train. You ever had? You have any? Trains?
We don't have any train tracks.
Yeah.
I had
do.
a train.
Hobos.
I didn't tell you about the train story.
Oh dear.
Oh, let's do
The
it.
other night, one of my guys was having problems with his modem, so he called me to help reset his modem. But we're standing in this parking lot of like a Midas or somewhere, fixing his modem. Clear as day, a train horn, like a train,
Oh yeah.
sounded like it was right behind the building we were at.
Yeah.
And both our eyes got about this big around. And he goes, "Sarge, there's no trains around here, are there?" I go, "There are no trains around
There's
here."
train horns.
He goes, "Let's get the fuck out of here." I was like, "Yeah, haunted trains at 3 a.m. is not on my list this week. Let's get the fuck out of here." And we both, like a bunch of chicken shits, jumped in our cars and drove away. I have no idea what it was. But
I
it
got a
sounded like
Christmas
a
gift for
giant
you.
train coming through.
But they make those now. You put them on a drill.
Yeah.
You ever seen them on the internet?
I've never seen.
Yeah, you
that.
put them on like a DeWalt drill, and it's air powered. You like pull the trigger on the drill. It's like, wow.
No.
I know somebody's getting something for Christmas. But yeah, we had a couple of hobos ride a boxcar up, and they were from like Alabama. And these two idiots are out there at our Shell station. Of course, they're out there begging for money, and we have no solicitors, or especially about the interstate.
Mm-hmm.
They can solicit in, but we start getting complaints on them.
Okay.
And the younger of the two, he was more aggressive, and of course, one of our females, our townies, they're like, this guy just wouldn't take no for an answer. I said, "Did you give him money finally?" She's like, "Well, yeah." Okay.
That's why.
Can you recognize him? Yeah. I took a picture of him. I gave her my cell phone. I said, "Send it to me." So she did. And I rolled up. I'm like, "Oh, there they are, motherfuckers." And they always got a dog with them. It never fails. You guys have no money, but they got, there he is with his knapsack and his fucking dog. And I pulled around the other side, and I walked in. I said, "How long have these dipshits been outside?" They're like, "Could you make them leave?" I said, "Oh, you can make them leave. You just pass them the fuck out of here. We can do that too. Please, let's do that, because that's more ammo for me. Now I have disorderly conduct, because they were aggressive, and now we have trespassing. So I got 2 charges. I can just say, "Look, I can go ahead and charge you, or I can take you up to the rest area and drop you off, and you can be on your way. Or you can get the fuck back on a damn train, get the hell out of here." Well, they were like, "Oh, this is a nice town. We'll just put our feet up." I'm like, "No, you're not.
Oh, Lord.
No, you're not.
Get your stinky feet down.
Yeah, get your nasty ass out of here." So anyway, the one guy said, "You can't make me leave." I said, "Yeah, you're right, but I can arrest you." So I went and started filling the misdemeanor citations out. And he's like, "What are you really going to arrest me?" "Absolutely." Nothing personal. It's not who you are. It's what you did, bro. Hey,
Yeah.
you arrive on vacation, leave on probation. I don't care. So we'll get you out of here. So we went ahead and cited them both. And they're like, well, now what? And I'm like, and now you're still going up the road. So I took them and dropped them off at the rest area. And they walked up to Piqua, which is just north of there.
Lord.
And put their feet up there. So at the Chiefs meeting the next week, the chief of Piqua was not pleased. So Chief, that was me. Sorry. But they hoofed it up there, and they said, well, Tip City brought us up. No, I took your dumbasses to the rest area. You walked on up. Of course, it's like, stone's throw away, but they like to never got rid of them either.
Pickles just got to learn they can do the same thing and pass them north.
Well, yeah, but they won't come that far south. Yeah, they could. They couldn't take them all up to Sydney, but the dumb shit we do as cops. Sorry, we got down a rabbit hole there about dumb shit. So
it happens.
Yeah, it does. So
it's part of it.
David, go ahead.
Let me just say that I've listened to not every minute of every episode, but a fair amount.
Whoa.
What?
I know. Shocking, but maybe. Full disclosure. But there were 4 things, I don't know why, but I just walked away from all of them, those samples, and thought, there are things that are very obvious here, and there are things that are very not obvious here. That was my experience. So the 4 things that were obvious to me about your podcast are, number 1, you two are happy with each other.
Oh, here, applause. Shut up.
Well, let's see. Right now it's 12:49. We are happy with each other. Yes. See me again at 1:30. It might change.
You'll be asleep by then. Gotta sleep sometime, motherfucker.
Grab it when you can. But your joy is very obvious to me. You two are happy. You enjoy each other's company. You like being with each other. Mm-hmm. Hearing that joy is awesome. I mean, how is there anything bad about listening to 2 people that are happy with each other talk about being happy with each other? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talk about a lot of different shit, but it all ends up with the 2 of you are happy with each other.
He clearly missed the episode where you said you were tired of me and that I needed to get the fuck out of the house and leave you alone. He missed that one.
I'll have to catch up.
That's the one where she said that she felt like a bitch.
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was playing the other day because I listen to podcasts when I get ready.
Right.
And yours came on. And my wife's like, who the fuck are you listening to?
Who are these assholes?
No, she was enjoying it. It was like, she's like, well, where did you find these at? So anyway.
So the joy to me is it's very nice to listen to people be happy. There's nothing complicated. It's just simple. These people are happy. It's awesome. Second thing, and you talk about it a lot in the first episode, is your fit. You fit together.
Yeah.
And fit, for me and for us on the Shield Within, is a big deal. We talk a lot about fit, the client to therapist in particular, that you need to find somebody that you're going to fit with before you make the commitment of time, energy, and money. And you sample. We've tried to provide kind of a protocol for helping people do that. But it's even more powerful when you're romantic. And when that romantic thing fits, oh man, it's beyond language. It's something that starts way deep inside you and grows out from there. And listening to you talk about that, both of you, that to me was very powerful. The fit is a big part of your joy. Mm-hmm. True?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's for sure. That's super. That's humbling. But yeah, I can't disagree at all.
Are you getting mushy over there?
Nope.
Like turning to goo?
Nope. Shields are up.
That's funny.
Get the booze.
Yeah.
Third is your age gap. Now, for those of you who are not sitting in here with us, which would include most of you,
all the 3.
Eric and Nichole are not from the same decade of age.
Correct.
Absolutely true.
And so, share with the audience, what is your age difference?
18 years.
18 years. And at any point, has that been problematic?
I wouldn't say problematic. I mean, at all.
Yeah, to us, not like we hardly notice it.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare that, I mean, and there are things we talked about it in one episode where I'm retirement age.
Mm-hmm.
She
Right.
obviously isn't.
Right.
So there's those kind of like stage of life things
Yes.
that are obviously going to be different, but even those things we do a pretty good job, I think, of navigating.
Yeah.
And mostly because she's an amazing planner and financial planner. But I think we do a pretty good job of navigating that kind of stuff. But I think it probably helps that I'm an immature 50-something and she's a very mature 30-something. So it's just kind of like we meet in the middle somewhere.
Right.
We average out to early 40s and we're all very happy that way.
Maturity level is a big thing.
It's a state of mind, man.
Yeah, that's right. And some days you're in your 50s and some days you're not. Some days you're in your teens, right?
Yes.
She made me work out with her yesterday. I thought I was in my 70s for a few minutes. Like to kill me. And then when we got done, she said, I thought you were about to have a heart attack. And I said, but you told me to keep going. Shouldn't you? Wouldn't a loving wife say stop?
Yeah.
No, you just told me to keep going.
She just doubled your life insurance. Come on, old man. I'm going to be a rich.
I can't breathe.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, you was wondering what that extra term policy was that showed up in the mail, right? Well, they get on the air and they're like, "Yeah, no health exam needed. I'll take 300,000, thank you. Here, Eric, sign here."
I actually told her after that we had just had a life insurance conversation, and she said, "I don't want you to, don't get life insurance. It's a waste of money. I don't want you to have any
I
life
did.
insurance."
I
Yeah,
told him that.
and I told her, I go, I'm really happy that we just had that conversation before you tried to murder me with a workout. It makes me feel a little more like maybe
You're
you weren't
that gullible?
Actually trying to.
I mean, Jesus Christ, man, really? Oh, you don't need life insurance, honey. Yeah, we got this. Come on, another rep. Come on. Step it up there, fat boy.
Are you blue yet? Can you feel your lips?
Yeah, you go down, it's going to be Chicago CPR for you, boy. Don't have a fan on in here because it picks it up.
Okay, I'm better now.
Sorry, David. I
I
totally
love
derailed
this,
that
man.
for you.
Yeah, sorry.
This couldn't be better.
You got to a point, and we keep running it off the rails.
Which I kind of figured we'd get Eric and I in the same room. Yeah, this would be a good time.
That'll happen. The last thing that's obvious to me is you're both first responders.
Yeah.
And we've had a few couples that have, we've been in touch with over the last 3 years that are in the same shape. And frankly, straight up, it doesn't go well. Often, I mean, like the majority of the time is my impression. Mm-hmm. Two first responders, whether it's EMT, fire, cop and cop, whatever, we're going to have problems. It's going to be hard. But my impression listening to the two of you is that is also, like the age gap thing, not something that's been hard.
Give us time. It's early.
Give us time. And I guess that touches the first thing that's not so obvious, which is, what's that like for you? Having listened to spouses who are first responders of spouses that are first responders, like, how's that work for the two of you? That you're both cops. Is it hard ever?
Ooh, good question. Good question. I would say for me, like the hardest part would be our schedules are very similar, but also very different.
Yeah.
So we both work midnights, but I work 410s and 8:30 to 6:30.
Yeah.
He works 8s
Right.
from 11:30 to 7. And then we sleep different also. So we might have a day off together, but like the rest of our days, I go to sleep first thing. He waits to go to sleep. So like I'm getting up at 3, he's going to bed. So that's probably like one of the harder things for us to navigate.
Working 8, you want to do that. Mm-hmm. That way you get him, go right to work.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was something I switched. My doc had me switch it because I wasn't sleeping Like I was in my 30s, and all of a sudden I wasn't sleeping good, and that was just how my doc had me first try to address it, was by adjusting when I slept, and it worked really well for me.
Oh, good.
And like we just had this conversation yesterday. I said, I have a problem trying to impose what I know works for me sleep-wise on her. So like she will come home and I'll be like, when are you taking a nap? You need to get a nap. You got to take a nap. And I'm very, and I don't know, it may be because I've done it so long, or maybe a bit of my age, that the sleep matters more to me.
Absolutely.
So I very much, like, I'll tell her, I'm off at 7, I'm going to be in bed by 9, I'll be up at noon or 1. And I stick to that. Like that's but she will come home, no real plan for sleep. She's going to play with a puppy or one of the new puppies.
This isn't on my work days. This is like my Friday where I get off and it's my weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She's a lot more kind of
you're
blasé with her sleep or whatever, and I would try to kind of regiment that in her, and it would get her frustrated because I'm like, you need some sleep, and she's like, I'm a grown ass woman. Fucking try to put me to bed. What is wrong with you, Mister?
I'll sleep when I'm dead. I always love that one. It's like, yeah, guess what, motherfucker?
It's coming.
You're going to be dead sooner than everybody else.
Yeah. So yeah, the sleep and the schedules is a little weird. We don't like as far as just the job stress and whatnot. We haven't really encountered that as a thing between us. I mean, we've talked about some calls and whatnot, but it's not been something that's caused us any problem at this point, I don't think.
It hasn't, but we haven't prioritized like how to decompress or like debrief any of, like, mostly for me, all the stuff that I deal with on the daily, because it's new to me. It's not new to you, but we haven't really taken the time to address that. Usually he goes, "How was work?" And I'm like, "It's fine. I don't want to talk about it."
I don't want to talk about it. Yep.
So that's
so we're starting internalizing early.
Yeah, so it's not a good thing, but
Dr. David, you want to address that one over there? I tell you, it's lessonslearnedcoaching.com.
Yeah, so I need to get better
first session's free if you're a guest on the show.
Right.
Sorry, David, I'm giving your money away. I'm kidding.
It's okay.
I'm kidding.
I don't need help. We've had this as a major thing we talk about, is how much do you share when you're a first responder? And we've had a number of different perspectives, but I think kind of in general, the kind of general advice, I guess, like everybody has talked about, is you share something, but you don't share nothing. Sharing nothing just keeps everybody in their own corner, isolated from each other. There's just the kind of sharing that needs to happen doesn't happen. People are scared of the sharing, and so they back away from it. So some sharing appears to be almost like a necessity to make it work.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how much do you share, and what do you share? Do you share, and the thing that a lot of first responders, and I've talked about it when I used to have my private practice, was, you've had like a gazillion trauma-related incidents, but you've got 10 times that many goofy shit that's happened to you. Can you share some of the goofy shit with your spouse and your kids? Well, that's a lot easier. Well, yeah. So you go home and you start talking a little bit about that, and it gets a little bit easier. Maybe you can start to say, I had a really tough day today. And your wife or husband might say, you want to talk about it? No, I don't. But I just need you to know today was just fucking incredible. And so then it's like, well, if you're a spouse, what do you do with that? Do you fix the person a drink? Do you call their best friend? Do you say, go in the basement, honey, I'll take care of dinner with the kids, I'll check on you in an hour? How do you play that? And so to me, the two of you both doing what you do, you haven't come across that yet. You've, like you're sharing, Nichole, haven't really decided to do a lot of that yet. But it sounds like something that's inevitable to me, that the two of you will begin to share some stuff that allows the other person to see kind of like what your last several hours have been like. And then you kind of navigate, okay, what can I do for you right now? What's going to help you get through the rest of this evening? How's that sounding?
Yeah. I feel like because we have kind of the same background as far as the job goes, that when I do need to talk to her about something, it'll be, I'm not going to have that feeling like she's not going to know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I was married previously, and in that marriage, I I never talked about anything at work that was bad.
Right.
And in that situation, for me, I was thinking, this is my burden. Like, I took this on.
Mm-hmm.
My kids don't need to hear this. My wife doesn't need to hear this garbage that I deal with at work. Like, that's mine. I don't, there's a reason we do this job. It's so that everyone else doesn't have to see it. Right. So I'm not going to take that and blast it out to everyone else.
That's how we justify it to ourselves, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, but that's what you tell yourself.
Yeah. Right.
But with us, like, I know if I need to, like, I had a call the other day that was rough, and I just sent her a message and said, got, dead kid here. This was a rough one.
Oh,
but I know she can understand that.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel that need to hold it back because she's not going to understand where I'm coming from. It's not going to be shocking to her.
Right.
Most things, I'm sure some things could happen that would still be shocking to anyone, no matter who you are.
Right.
But overall, the general job isn't going to shock her.
Right.
And she's going to be hard-pressed to come home and tell me something after 33 years that's going to make me go, what the fuck?
Right.
Usually when she does, it's another cop story, not a
that
trauma.
dumb motherfucker did what?
So I think that's going to be a way that's going to be good for us.
Yeah. That makes tons of sense.
As we kind of navigate through this, and again, we're pretty early on into the marriage. We've only been married a year and a half or so, exactly.
Yes.
And been together.
Happy anniversary and a half.
Happy anniversary. And a half. I don't know what the
You said
I don't
exactly.
know.
So I'm like, today.
It is just about
exactly?
not quite exactly.
Oh, okay.
The first would have been a year and a half, right?
I don't know. Somebody asked me how long I was married the one time, and I was like, I don't know.
And we got married December 31st. How this woman forgets our anniversary, I will never know.
We weren't supposed to allow. I forget it. It's always the guy.
It's kind of like a big event going on. Oh yeah, it's something Eve. What else, honey? I got
Fireworks. I probably got to work. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good first responder answer.
That's right.
What are you doing for the 4th? I'm working.
Yes.
Yeah. We did realize we picked a kind of a shitty day to get married because we probably would never see each other on our anniversary
Right.
until retirement time. But
Yeah. Got lucky the first year.
Yep. Yeah, but so we haven't been married super long, so a lot of that we're still kind of navigating through and working.
It's still
through.
yet to happen.
And she's still learning, like she mentioned, how when she comes home from work, she wants to decompress or deal with work or whatever the case is. She mentioned the other day to me, like she's like, I don't even know if you know, but sometimes I come home and I just sit in the car for a long time and listen to the radio, whatever.
Very good.
Because our house is not a quiet, calm place.
No.
It makes it sound like we live in a circus, but some beautiful woman that lives in my house keeps collecting dogs. And
I don't know what you're
so
talking
we have
about.
dogs all over the place, 3 of them now. And it's
But she doesn't like small dogs.
Yeah, you clearly saw that.
so you come in the house and it's dogs want your attention right away.
Right.
And to be honest, I want her attention right away. I'm not
Right.
very good at that.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting better. Am I getting better?
Yes.
You're on the floor with the dogs.
Close.
Pretty close.
Close.
Yes.
And I'll point out to her if I'm in the room and the dogs are in the room and she runs over and says hi to the dogs and hasn't said hi to me, I'll be a dick and I'll be like, what the
alpha
fuck?
male.
Like I'm sitting over here, like come pat me on the head for a minute, would you? What the fuck, man?
I'm guilty of that.
I'm guilty of that very much so.
Yeah, but so I'm still kind of learning how to help her deal with when she gets home after and it is after a long day of work and a busy day for her, a busy day. They are call to call,
Active.
running their asses off all night.
Yes.
And I'm at work like
Crickets.
So I'll go
One
see
car
what's
drives by.
what's going on at Waffle House tonight. I don't know. So I'm still as she's trying to learn how to deal with decompressing when she gets home.
Right.
I'm still trying to learn how to help her
Yeah.
through that process. Even if helping her is staying the fuck out of her way.
Exactly. Yeah. Not coming out to bother her while she's in the car.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think I only did that once.
One time.
Yeah.
One time.
Yep. And I got my head bit off.
Yeah, I wasn't very nice when I
I thought I was being nice and coming out helping you carry your bags in.
I know, and I appreciated that.
I didn't realize you were out there decompressing. Like I came out and opened her car door and she was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Right. Well, but I think
Oh, and it turned off your music.
That
Right.
She had, a,
be fair.
she had a song she was jamming to, and so the car door, when you open the car door, the music goes off if the
So
car
is
is
she
turned
still
off.
singing?
So yeah,
when you open the door and she's like,
but yeah, I opened the car door, the music went off, and she was just like, "Whoa!"
I will suck your soul out. Leave me now.
But then
Something like that.
the same
Yeah,
woman,
pretty close.
the same woman, a week or two later, would come in the front door with like 6 bags, duty bags, and like riot bags, and all hanging off of her, and be like, "A little help coming in would have been nice." What the fuck? Send me a smoke signal.
So you gave her a little applause. Nice job there, honey. Good job balancing there.
But I tend to be a little obtuse, I think, and thick. But I'm trying to learn.
I hear you, bro.
But I also don't communicate very well with things that I need or would prefer that you do. So it's not
Right, you're supposed
your
to have the
fault.
Vulcan mind meld. He's supposed to automatically know, right? Yeah, you roll in the driveway. He's in there asleep on the couch. He should wake up and come out and help you.
Or not.
Is that what
Or not.
unspoken expectations? Is that what we're talking about? I have a lot
Yeah.
of unspoken expectations. That's why my wife and I had that conflict earlier on in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I would think, well, if you love me, then, but and there's one thing that, was it Dan Willis's book we was talking about? Sit down and tell one another,
Right.
what do you want?
Yes.
What are your expectations?
Right.
And because we're first responders,
You don't do that.
we damn Dave, you act like a therapist over there. But yeah, we never tell one another what we want, and but yet we expect it.
Right.
And then when we don't get our expectations meet, then we're pissed off.
Right.
Right.
And that's just like, so after I read his book again, Bulletproof Spirit, have you guys seen it?
I haven't
haven't read it.
Oh,
Good.
you got gifts. There's your present. Read it. That is,
Ooh, I like books.
yes,
He gave it
that
to me.
is. Well,
I've got
you
it.
guys can share it.
Guess who reads?
I may have
Guess who
another one here.
listens?
If I have another one, Nicole, give you that.
No, you're good. We'll share.
We can
We
share.
got to learn how to share.
Something to talk about.
Yeah. See?
We
But
can do, we can do a book report together.
We had Dan
Yes.
on the show a while ago,
Oh,
and that I
don't think
he wrote that in 2014, David.
I think I missed that one.
I think that's right. It was published in 2014.
Oh my God! When I went through my bullshit in 2019, I wish the fuck I had that book.
Oh, wow.
Really?
So read it, pass it on to another first responder, please. It is just such a Bible to surviving the
Yes.
job.
Yeah.
And it's just great. It's, I don't want to be a book reviewer, but it was a little draggy at the beginning. It took me a minute to get into it. But
to
by
know.
chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm like, yep, that's me. Yep, that was me. Yep, that was, it's just, I was in it after that. So, and chapter 11, I believe, is on chaplains. Talking about police chaplains. I thought that was very intriguing.
It was a very well written part of the book too.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
really neat.
Great book. So, yeah,
Neat.
my
Yeah,
gift
we
to
will.
you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll
Thank
definitely
you.
read it.
But I think it would help you guys navigate. But you both been married before?
Yep.
So, and then I agree with David, by listening to your show, is that you guys have a great energy together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good
No,
thing they
wow,
weren't
look at
around
you.
yesterday.
Well, life is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, well, you guys see, you see these couples on Facebook and how they're always doing something. Next thing you know, they're divorced. You go through and you look at their profiles, and then suddenly it's all these single pictures of them without the other.
That's what I told her when we started the podcast. Was we have all these people think we have this perfect life and this perfect relationship, and I mean we've got a good relationship. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
I'm very happy with my wife, but we argue.
Sure you do.
We don't fight.
Okay. Okay.
We get in fights.
I mean, you don't throw down.
We get in fights over whether or not we fight, because she'll say we're fighting, and I'll say no, we're not. And we
Yeah.
just realized a couple weeks ago that it's just a linguistic difference. That
Right.
To me, fighting is different. It's adversarial. Or arguing isn't necessarily adversarial. So I get upset when she calls it fighting, and it's kind of a dumb thing. But
all right. So what was the fight? What was the disagreement about, Nicole?
fuck, I usually don't even remember.
She knows. We're dudes, man. We don't remember shit. But what was the one thing that you were like?
I got mad over a battery being dead.
Oh yeah, and the lawnmowers being dead.
Yeah, but that wasn't okay.
Yeah, that's my fault. I'll take it.
Maybe a little, but
The batteries too. I'll take it all.
no, you don't have to.
I'm not saying that your reaction was okay, but I'm owning the fact that the lawnmower and the batteries.
Absolutely
were bad.
was not. I shouldn't have yelled at you.
You're just frustrated, so he was the mud flap.
Yes, and
All right.
unfortunately, that's how it just kind of falls sometimes. Like just.
I'm not mad at you. You're just there, and I want to yell at you a little bit.
That was actually part of the argument because
Yeah.
she slammed the door and I yelled, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
Literally.
Because you were sleeping?
No, I was just sitting there like minding my own shit, and she slammed the door, and for whatever reason it pissed me off, and I don't usually get mad, but she
No.
slammed the door, and I screamed, "What the fuck!" And next thing I know, she was back up the stairs, and we were just like, rah, 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 rah. Yeah,
We were, yeah.
and it was over nothing really.
It was. It's just that happened
But
to be the thing
but
that snapped.
I said something about I don't deserve to be getting yelled at over this,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes, I can be mad and slam doors, and it's not directed at you.
Right.
And I was
Shouldn't have slammed the door,
I
though.
was like,
Oh, so you're taking that
Oh,
energy on,
it was
Eric.
like-
Quit being a pussy.
but it was like I had this revelation, like, oh wait, the world
teasing.
doesn't revolve around me. Every time you're mad, it's not my fault. I thought when you were mad, it was all directed at me, and it did. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So she's mad. Doesn't necessarily mean she's mad at me. I mean, sometimes she is. Get her for sure. Sometimes she
No,
is.
I can't ever imagine.
But yeah, just because she was slamming the door and pissed off that the battery was dead, didn't mean she was wanting to divorce me at that moment.
Right.
That was a few
Correct.
moments later.
No, it wasn't.
And then it just got worse when she went down. The lawnmower wouldn't start, and then lawnmower 2 and 3 wouldn't start.
Oh, good Lord.
'Cause see,
the backup to the backup is not backed up.
I have this thing where when a lawnmower breaks, I just buy a new one.
Right.
Yeah. Now
So
do
you're a
you know-
lawnmower hoarder?
Yes. Yes.
We're
Or
fixing that.
a hoarder of everything.
And there
we're
there's
fixing that.
A1 Iron and Metal down there on First Street. You can just
we're-
go down and scrap them.
We're gonna get the best mower running. The best mower will be running, and the other 2 are going away.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. Are they push mowers or riders?
Push mowers.
Oh, yeah.
Our yard's about as big as your dining room.
It's,
No.
it's this big.
No. Yeah.
That's what you get when you live in Dayton.
Oh, you live in the city?
Not for
Nice.
very much longer.
Well, there's always cheap living.
That's what it
Unlike
is.
here-
That's why we're still
That's
there.
Unlike
Yeah.
hearing just the tip. Oh, but you guys, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. David, anything else?
How we doing for time, bro?
Can you believe we've been at it almost an hour?
No
Did it feel like an hour?
way.
51 minutes we're sitting here right now.
So do we do a second episode? Or do we keep rolling?
It's up to our guests.
I'm
It's up to
down
you guys.
for
I'm
whatever
fine.
you want to do.
I'm just
All right, let's wrap
chit-chatting.
us up.
Cool.
And then our second episode
Yeah.
is that these two are going to interview us.
Aha.
I
Oh
can do
no! Yes, yes.
that. Wait, you should like this because it won't be you talking about you. You can make
do.
them
you can
talk
fire
about
it away at us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But David, you had
Do you
another
like that?
question on the table. That
Oh, gosh.
I
always got 10 more questions. But
yeah, we get some time. Go ahead and roll.
let's see.
8 minutes.
Mark touched on it. One of the other things that's not obvious is that the two of you are at an age where you probably have had relationships before the relationships you're having with each other.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, listening to the two of your joy, what did you bring into this relationship from those others?
a pile of debt.
Garbage.
That was on my side.
And yes, that would be an obstacle. Yeah, that would count as an obstacle. And I'm thinking this is what happens a lot because I work with almost all the folks I coach are parents and people that have started a relationship or ending a relationship, one of the two. And the previous relationship tends to have an effect on the current one, at least at the beginning. So I'm thinking the two of you are so flippin' happy. You've had relationships before. How did you get through that difficulty as you started your own?
One thing that I had to do was I had to remind myself constantly to not compare. Like if something went wrong or he said like whatever, I just couldn't compare this Eric to the previous person because A, that's not fair coming into a relationship, and comparing him to somebody that he did, like, it's just not fair, right? So I had to constantly remind myself, like, he's not that person.
Yeah.
He's somebody new. We have to navigate this. Like, he's a new person to me.
Right.
Even though we had the same middle name. And
Blue eyes, long ass head, and
What was that you said on your show? You have a type? Wow. Shoes on the other foot now, isn't it?
yeah.
it was funny when she asked what my middle name was, and I told her, and her eyes like this panicked look on her face. And I was like, how can that possibly be offensive? It's the most boring middle name ever. How did that just freak her out? But I could see the terror in it. And then she told me, and I was like, I've lost this one. There's no fucking way. I'm finished. Whew. Luckily, she saw past it.
Awesome.
See, you can't compare.
And was for you a pile of debt, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pile of debt. For me, it's, and maybe it's my, Nichole calls it my marshmallowiness, that I just kind of, I let stuff just, the way she says I'm like a marshmallow floating around in hot chocolate. Like, I just don't let anything upset me or get me pissed off. Or
Just
what.
wobble around.
And it's kind of in the same, like, I think of, it's not just that I bring, like, yes, I've had a previous marriage, but sure that some of the makeup of what I am and what I brought to the table when we first started dating and got married, but I also had 54 years of other stuff that's me.
Yes.
That brings
54?
in
How old are you
September.
now? Oh.
You get scared, you're like, oh wait, I'm out. You're a year older than I was. I had a limit.
I don't know. I just
A
always
little
think
late now there, sugar.
you're perpetually 50 years old.
I do that too. I kind of stick at 50 when I can. That's where I want to be. But yeah, like, so I've got this other ball of everything behind me that's part of me, and that's a part of it, sure.
Right.
But
it doesn't determine
try not to. Yeah, it doesn't determine me for sure. Her, like, how this relationship's going to go forward. It's not, to me, and for her too. I've never felt like she was comparing me. You know, I think we both know each other's bad things from our previous relationships.
Okay.
So that we know things that we want to not emulate. You know, like I know the things that would upset her very much if I started doing those things, and luckily it's not something I would do.
Right.
But she was very upfront about that in the beginning. You know, and she knows stuff that bothered me about my previous marriage that, again, isn't her. If it was, we wouldn't be together. If I was what her ex was and she was what my ex was, we wouldn't be sitting here.
We wouldn't
That's
fit.
right. That's right.
We wouldn't fit.
Yeah, there's a reason
You wouldn't
for that.
fit.
Good
It's
callback.
exactly right. It's a right, beautiful way to put it. Yeah, I'm good. Kids from the previous thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so are the child part of your life now?
Well, that's a long story there, but yes. Yes.
Cool. Ages?
I have a 13 and a 15-year-old.
Oh, my. Teenagers. Mm-hmm. And are they with you a lot?
Unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately not. That's a bummer.
It is. It's a big one.
And hard for the two of you? Or just for you, Nichole?
I mean, that's been a long battle.
And it's not over.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So Eric doesn't really, he's met them, but he doesn't really had a chance to form a relationship with them. So I don't know if that's hard for him or not. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've each been on a trip with us, but
yeah.
We haven't got to spend the amount of time with them we'd like to.
Yeah.
And my kids are adults; they're older, so
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. I've got a situation now I'm working with where the parents just split up, and the 17-year-old is just decided he's going to have nothing to do with mom, even though mom's herself the victim in the situation. As she and I have talked many, many times, he's a 17-year-old boy. That means his head is full of shit. He starts off the day full of shit, and he ends the day full of shit. So full of shit means he can't see what he needs right now real clearly. Don't count him out. Just keep yourself a soft place to land, and eventually, when he passes 18 and finds his own path, I think you're going to be on it. You've loved him for a lot of years, at the end of the day, that's what's going to be more powerful. And if you're to spend whatever minutes, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5, whatever, you're being quality love in them, that's what'll count. And at the end of the day, that's what'll make them knock on your door, whether you're ready for it or not.
Mm-hmm. I actually have my phone savers that says something similar to that. Basically, be the person you want them to find when they come looking.
Yes. Make your own life ready for them.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Cool. Well, I could go on for another half hour, or we could stop and start episode 2.
Well, I got that last cup of coffee is like knocking on my bladder.
Okay.
I was just going to say.
Let's let Mark leave the room for that.
I didn't wear my Depends today, so.
We're pretty open, but
The puppy pad's too far away.
Right. Yeah, I didn't put it out. I need to do that. Is she over there by you? Is she under the desk?
oh, right over here.
Yeah,
Up,
there she is. All right.
Yes.
Anyway, Donnie, key the music.
May your days and nights find you strong and safe. May you take your place as your family's face. As you do the shit that we won't do. As you embrace the risk you must go through. May you grow in strength and heal and find your heart, your soul, and your mind. You look at your life and grin. You have a home, the shield within.